I think that there are some benefits to having a clutter-free space that we all just know instinctively. For example, you can have people over without being embarrassed. It's less stressful to be in your space, and so you enjoy it more. And having less stuff makes it easier to get and stay organized. And if I had to guess, one of those 3 reasons is probably why you found my channel or this video in the first place. And don't get me wrong, those are all really, really good reasons to declutter your space. But today I want to talk about some of the hidden benefits of having a decluttered space. They're hiding all over, and we just need to go find them. Number 1, it's easier to clean. It's crazy how much cleaning time we actually spend putting things back where they belong. When you have fewer things, wiping down surfaces and disinfecting just doesn't take that much time, which makes cleaning less exhausting. Number 2, you spend less time searching for things. I know that we already talked about the fact that it's easier to get and stay organized. And I feel like that is one of the obvious benefits of minimalism. But what I'm talking about here is not that it's easier to stay organized, but that it's easier to find things even when you don't upkeep your organizational systems. Let's face it, I'm not always perfect at putting my stuff away exactly where it belongs, and I'm guessing you aren't either. But one of the benefits of having a clutter-free space is that if you don't put something away where it belongs and you don't have a ton of clutter hanging around, it's hard for those things to get lost, right? Like you may still have to look for that thing because it's not where it belongs, but it's easy to, number 1, remember when you saw something out of place because there's not that many things cluttering up your home. Or 2, check the places where you think it could be and see those things. I can't tell you how many times when I've been letting the clutter get out of control in my house, where something has been in an area where I expect to find it, it's just under things. And so it takes me like 3 or 4 times longer to find it. But when you have a clutter-free space, that is not such a big issue. You just go look in one of the places where you think it might be, and it's there. That's one of the reasons I don't mind having a smaller kitchen, because if I misplace something or I don't put it away in the right spot and I'm in the middle of cooking dinner, like there's not that many places that I have to look that it can be. And so within a minute or 2, I've usually found the thing that I need. Which reminds me, I need to pick this up and put it away. Oh wait, there's another hidden benefit. Number 3, it's okay to leave a little mess around. Now, this might seem counterintuitive, but hear me out, okay? I am not always the greatest at putting things away right away. Part of that is just that I get distracted easily. Another part of it is that like if I am overwhelmed or just having a tough day for some reason, one of the first things to go is putting things away. And if my space is already cluttered, that's kind of a problem. It's probably not actually that helpful to my mental health. But if I'm starting from a decluttered base, it's not a big deal if I leave a book out that I'm reading on the couch, or if I leave a project out on the table overnight. My space is meant to be lived in, and when I already have it decluttered, I can actually make use of it better and in a way that does not stress me out. Now, obviously, a decluttered space is very calm and peaceful, and I don't mind having nothing out, but leaving a few things out here and there is fine as long as I do periodic tidies in between. Number 4, you get clarity on your personal style. One of the most sophisticated things you can do when it comes to what you wear is develop your own sense of personal style. And I wouldn't say that I'm there yet. I feel like my personal style is always a little bit in flux. But if you're never practicing making choices about what you wear, and not just like what fits and what doesn't, but what you like wearing, what you enjoy, how it looks on you, etc., then you're never going to develop your own unique fashion sense. You're always going to be following trends and just settling for things that you maybe don't love because you don't have the confidence to dress in the way that you want to dress. And so I think that one of the hidden benefits of decluttering your closet and just approaching it from a minimalist perspective is that it sort of forces you to have your own personal style. Over the years, I've discovered that I have an affinity for comfortable, cozy clothing. So you'll see a lot of like sweaters and fluffy things in my closet, but also there are specific looks that I do like, specific looks that I don't like. And that has all been very, very helpful for me when shopping and also when getting dressed in the morning. And as I get older, and continue to make these choices, I assume that that will get refined even more. And I think that that is really cool. It's cool to have your own unique fashion sense. It's really great to have an idea of what is you and what isn't, and being able to sort of tell that very quickly when you look at a piece of clothing. Number 5, you become a smarter shopper. I'm not talking about being a smart shopper in terms of finding sales or deals or using coupons. There's nothing wrong with that, of course, but I think that true smart shopping is knowing what you will use and what will genuinely bring you joy in your life, and what you will not use and will not bring you joy and will just add clutter. And nothing really refines that process as much as the habit of decluttering. You know what you have space for, you know what you use. And so you're able to save that money where you might have otherwise been enticed by a deal. Because after all, it's not really much of a savings if you just pay less than you otherwise could have for something that you didn't need in the first place. Which brings me to my next point. Number 6, you will have a greater sense of what is important to you. There's nothing quite like decluttering for helping us realize, first of all, how we actually spend our time and the things that we actually use. And second of all, what our priorities are and what we want to be spending our time on. One of the first big things that I remember decluttering in college was my beading supplies. Now, beading was a hobby of mine probably like middle school through high school, but by the time I got to decluttering in college, it had been, I think, 2 or 3 years since I'd pulled any of the supplies out. And I'd sort of been looking at them and thinking, oh man, like I need to do something with that, because they were taking up a good chunk of space in my room, but I wasn't really using them. And at some point in my minimalism and decluttering journey, I realized, like, you know what? I think that I am more interested in some of my other hobbies. I haven't pulled these out in a couple of years, so I think I just need to declutter it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that kind of hurt. I love my hobbies. I love being crafty. But once I got rid of it, I realized, like, yeah, that was true. I had been prioritizing other things that I enjoyed more, and there was nothing wrong with that either. Every time we hold on to clutter because we think that it will make us happy or be useful in the future, we are delaying decisions about how we will spend our time and attention. But every time we choose to get rid of that clutter, we are making conscious choices about what deserves our time and attention. It's a very practical exercise in sort of making our lives less overwhelming and being more intentional with our time. And I think that a lot of us can use that. And then the final hidden benefit to having a clutter-free space is that it becomes easier to make other brave choices. In his book, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg talks about something called keystone habits. This is a quote directly from the book, but he says, "Keystone habits start a process that, over time, transforms everything." When I read this book earlier this year, I started to think about keystone habits in my own life. And I think that the biggest one, honestly, for me was minimalism, which is just developing a habit of decluttering and having a clutter-free space. And I think this is for a lot of reasons. For one, it takes courage to get rid of something that you think you may need or might be useful later. It takes a lot of gentleness and compassion and vulnerability to accept who you are and to get rid of things that are no longer serving you, even if they were important to you at some point in your past. And I think most of us go through our lives just collecting things and not really assessing whether or not they're good for us. And minimalism really forces us to face that time and time again through the habit of decluttering. And once you start that process of assessing whether or not you want to keep things, of thinking about how you want to spend your time and the person that you want to be, that is a habit that can spread to other parts of your life and make it easier to make other brave choices too. Like, I'll be honest, I don't know if I would have had the courage to start this YouTube channel, to go back to therapy, to quit a job that paid well but was destroying my mental health. I mean, I could go on. Almost every brave choice that I've been able to make in my life has been a result of the ways that the habit of decluttering and keeping my space clutter-free has taught me to think. It can be difficult sometimes to make the right decisions for you and your life, especially if they go against the flow. There are a lot of things that people are convinced we need to do and we need to have, but decluttering sort of prepares you to trust your own judgment on how you want to live your life and what you do and do not want as far as how you spend your time, what you have in your space, what your life looks like, which I think is amazing. A lot of us have been trained not to trust our own judgment or just have a lot of insecurity. And so practicing on a small scale prepares us for those bigger decisions in our lives. And also just the fact that if you are practicing decluttering, you are learning to live with less, which means that sometimes you have to come up with creative solutions for how to get something done or how to solve a problem, which also just breeds confidence and an ability to work with challenging situations as they come up. And honestly, I think that is one of the biggest benefits of keeping your space decluttered, developing a habit of decluttering, is that it does prepare you to live your life in a little more unique and brave way. I don't think I can really top this. There may be some other benefits of having a clutter-free space, but that is the one I want to end on. If you liked this video, I think that you would also like this one where I talk about 7 things that I've learned on my minimalism journey, which has been, oh goodness, it's a little over 10 years now. And of course, if you think that I've forgotten some of the hidden benefits of minimalism, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.